Um, servers come out and like take your order and then bring all your stuff out so you can still order food and shit like that. Blah blah blah. Blah. And then if you have to go to the bathroom, it's one person like that can go to the bathroom at the time, and
Right.
so and you only can use the upstairs bathroom. It's hilarious.
Kindergarten.
That's pretty
It's
wild.
hilarious.
That's pretty fucking wild. That's like a shitty amusement.
Can I take a poopy?
Yeah, that's like a shitty amusement park that you can.
Yeah.
It's like a shitty amusement park that you can drink at. There's
Yeah.
lines for everything. There's
Yeah.
fucking one
You were
bathroom.
hoping somebody would come down the stairs when you're going around the corner.
Yeah, dude.
Amusement
They
park would have got
turned it
way
into
more rules
first
than
grade.
Jesus Christ.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wonderland. You can have fun here, and not there. Over here.
Dude, and it's just hilarious because I mean,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, you must be this tall to ride this ride.
yeah, exactly. It is hilarious because like obviously people should obey social distancing and this is serious and everything else. But at the exact same time, when you think about the actual danger in that bar, the
Right.
fucking staircase going upstairs should just be called the Mick Foley Memorial Staircase. Like, the amount of people, and it's got those
The
steel
mankind
caps on it,
bathroom
dude.
stall.
It's fucking crazy. The amount of
shit.
people who have CTE from fucking body slam down those stairs, tripping drunk down those
Oh
stairs,
my
dude.
God.
Like fucking
But
wow.
think about this. What if they actually designated an area for every disgusting action that has ever happened there? Like,
Yeah.
over here, you do the coke. Over there, you fuck on the stairs. Over here, you know, you're going to see someone pissing around the corner. You got to line up, though. Everyone gets a turn.
Everybody gets a turn.
Oh, my God. That would be the greatest. They got a turnstile to fucking do blow in the bath.
I mean, they should
Yeah.
charge people to do it too.
You know what I'm saying? Cocaine
Hey, what
section.
time? Is it 10 o'clock? It's my turn. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Like they hand out the fucking buzzers like you're at Fuddruckers waiting
Yeah.
for your
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Goes off.
cheeseburger.
Fireman, go. That's
It's my
me.
turn to get hit by the
my
bouncer.
turn.
He's going to
My
punch
turn
me
to
in the
go do some
mouth.
coke.
That'd be great.
Fucking 2 snorts per person.
Yeah.
Like, hey. 2 snorts. Fuck out.
You don't have the gold membership to be in this area.
Oh,
It's also like Costco.
yeah. A whole little micro economy.
Excuse me, sir, you don't have the
What's a
executive
buy-in?
discount.
Yeah.
That depressed me a little bit.
All right. Okay. So, all right, here we go. Welcome to the show, James. Joe, if you want to get us started here, I think we got this covered. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
sorry, I was away from the mic for a second. I just had to. I switched to DJ gear, so I fucking had to like plug this big ass board in and fucking plug in all this shit that I normally would never have to do. So just give me a second here. Also, let me in on the video, bro.
You not?
I should be in the lobby.
Lobbies.
And Eric, by the way, I'm sure you could probably edit this out later, but this episode is brought to you by Michelob
What? The plug.
I'm trying to get y'all sponsors. Come on.
Beer plugs in.
Michelob
Hey, it said that you would.
What would their quarantine commercial be?
The longest beer bong of all time.
Right.
It's just
That'd be a good commercial.
a beer bong in Italy going down like 6 floors.
Trying to break some world record. and
Six
you're
foot,
just like,
6 foot of Michelob
the
Ultra.
longest
Still
beer
not drunk.
bottle that ever has been constructed.
Oh my gosh. What would that beer bong be like? I feel like it should probably kill you. All that water pressure. All that
Oh, you
pressure.
die. Your stomach would explode.
Say,
It's like-
Eric, can you enable screen sharing?
Or, you know, what would they actually do? They'd be like, Michelob Ultra for the person who paces during their whole quarantine.
I think they'd go since it's Michelob Ultra. They'd be like, you could drink yourself to death. That's a real thing that could happen. But do you want to look fat when you're dead? No. The only part of you that you want to be fat is your liver. You
Right.
want to look good in your coffin. So drink Michelob Ultra.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Ain't Shit News. This is your host. We got your hosts, John Quamia and Eric Baskerville, and special guest tonight, James in the house, and Eugene Botchway and Ben Elliott joining as always, and I am DJ Two Coats. We've got a whole list of new topics tonight to get to, so that should be interesting. Yeah, I'll go ahead and break us off to it, Eric.
All right, so tonight, I mean, we've got a lot of topics that we're gonna go over. First one's gonna be everything that's kind of happening right now with Minneapolis and how this is affecting the entire country. Other than that, there are a lot of other things that we want to get to that I think would be a lot of fun to cover. We're gonna do some tech news. We're definitely gonna talk about the SpaceX launch and these murderous rats in New York. I know
Oh
that.
yeah, the murder rats. Can't forget about them.
Wait, hold on. There are murder rats now?
There's
What happened?
murder
There
rats.
are
Yeah.
murder. Yes.
So, what happened to the murder hornets?
They got eaten by all the murder rats, and June's competitor just stepped in. Oh no!
Also,
Alright.
okay, so I'm just gonna do a general question for everybody, and I'd love to start with John. So there is, okay, so let's just start from the beginning for people out there that don't know. We have we have 4 officers in Minneapolis that decided that they wanted to take a man's life. This man being George Floyd. A lot of this video that we've all got to see at the beginning of the week has taught us what we know as a nation already, that's been going on for a long time, and that has been going on continuously, generation after generation after generation. And here we are again, if not even like 4 years later. I mean, there are too many people to account for that this has happened to. I mean, it's just like a thing that keeps happening over and over again, and the government's allowing it. There's a lot of pain, not only like within the city of Minneapolis, but within the culture of being a minority group. Also understand that this has resulted in people having their homes destroyed, people having their community destroyed. A lot of the things self-inflicted, some of them not, based off of what the news that we have now is. I just want to know wholeheartedly where all of us stand at, and if we can have a conversation about not only how it's been affected culturally, how it's affecting the family who obviously wants closure, and what this means for the overall pain that a lot of us as a minority group have. So, John.
Did you want me to answer?
You asked John.
I thought she said
You
John.
said Joe.
I'll say this. I mean,
John.
I'll say this much because it's something I've been thinking about a lot, and I don't know how well I can speak about it. There's a lot going on, and you know, if I have anything to say about it, I would say, you know, people need to control their reactions the situations a lot better. And I think that's something that can, from the beginning, appropriately describe the situation. Like, if you're a cop and you can't control yourself as you're doing something as routine as, apprehending a suspect, whatever, precipitated it, I think that's where to start with that. As individuals, you look for fault. I know everyone wants to blame everybody, but I think you got to start with the people involved, and that also broadens out to the destruction we're seeing in a lot of American cities. Because at the end of the day, you can be part of a group, but you have total accountability for everything you do. So,
John, I commend you in being objective about your opinion. I know you well enough as a friend that I know that you probably feel way more than what you're saying.
I do, but like I said, I don't think I've tried to talk about it. I've definitely tried to talk about it because the horrible truth is we've had a lot of chances to experience things like this. It's like you said, it's pretty repetitive, it's pretty predictable. And because of that, I think I might come at it differently, because if we keep saying the same things, we keep seeing the same things, then, where's the value? And what are we actually doing to prevent these things? If I get, zits every time I eat pizza, is it my fault that there's zits all over the fucking place? If riots happen after you do something grossly unjust in public, maybe it's not as spontaneous as people think. Maybe we should prepare ourselves better and protect ourselves better. And if you want to think as a group, then you have to be a better individual. Because getting a group to agree to anything, the first two people on Earth, one of them killed the other one. Abel and Cain.
First kids.
I thought they were
first two
number
people
3
on
and
Earth.
4.
Or 6.
I thought they were 3 or 4. Yeah.
6,000
They
for
were
all
the
we
first
know.
real people in the story. Don't.
No,
say
that's
it
what
like
I love. That's what
Don't
I
say
love.
it like I believe that they were the first two people on Earth. But in the story, they were the first two people born. And that's what I mean.
Yes.
Real humans looked at each other and said, "What do you motherfuckers has to go?"
No, that's like that Dion Cole joke where he's like, why whenever you see a painting of Adam and Eve, they have belly buttons?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I never caught that one.
Yeah.
Crazy one. Chill out.
All right, so
Oh, yeah. Like I said,
before
I could get broad and weird, but I think that's the best I can say.
Yeah, that might be one of the best
I
ones
want
I've
to
ever
get
heard.
Eugene in on this subject as well, because I think that it's really important to hear from people that are culturally affected by this. But first, I want to try to see what Bennett has to say about making a point about these topics that I brought up.
I mean, just in terms of what happened, fundamentally, I mean, the cops, from the video, from what it shows, I mean, it's a man who got choked to death for 9 minutes.
He's straight.
Yeah, I mean, that's enough to inflame anyone.
Doesn't
Obviously.
even matter, right?
It doesn't matter. I mean, and you had to watch it. It's just, we're now in an era where it was just like war was never fought the same again after Vietnam. The American public didn't look at it the same way ever again when we went to war, because of the footage that came out of that war. There hadn't been anything like that before. People could see villages getting lit on fire, and people could see, ambushes happen, or they could watch their children die on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or they could watch someone who looked exactly like their children, was the same age.
Mm-hmm.
They could see that and they could go, fuck. If we're doing this, it better be worth it, and we better do it the right way to uphold the values that we have, whatever war that we're fighting, right? Because if you espouse these values, and that's why these people are putting their lives on the line in a war, and then you're killing people and you're degrading those values at the same time, it can't work. And I think that we've reached a point with basically pocket computers. It's weird we still call them phones, but like pocket computers.
Legit.
Yeah, is what they are. Like, and
Yeah, that's what they are.
Everyone's like, get on your phone. I'm like, I was the last motherfucker to own a phone. I owned a flip phone until 4 years ago. Got an ungodly amount of shit for it from everyone.
Oh,
Got rid of
shit.
his pager before.
Yeah, fuck off. It was like, but like, yeah, the fact that you have a computer in your pocket and people can film when these things happen. And so the impact, we're like in the early stages of that, where this is like really, really visceral, and it is in its potential to inflame people and to expose gross injustices. They're both very high. Basically, they're intertwined. They can't be separated. And so it's kind of what I've had going through my head recently is this is kind of, we're entering into domestic law enforcement, policing, all this. We're like entering an era that is probably only comparable to when news cameras were filming like the war as it was happening and broadcasting it back the same day in Vietnam. Like this, and we all saw what happened in that era. That was an era of great unrest, and like the world almost got blown up a few years earlier in the Cuban Missile Crisis. All this shit, right? It's weirdly, it's not the same thing, but I keep making.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gil Scott was wrong. It's all gonna be told. We'll see it from start to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Gil Scott, like, well, maybe.
I think it's a lot of good points that are being like across the board that are being made. I think that a lot of the unrest is coming from the initial, like, just the initial wrongdoing. Like, there's no reason why these guys should have had this dude on the floor die.
Well, but there's no reason they should have still even been cops at that point.
Yeah.
If you ask me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's her name? Klobuchar. She passed up prosecuting.
I
him.
always
Oh,
forget
geez,
she's actually
man.
in charge
Oh,
of
my
shit.
goodness.
When they were like blaming her, I was like, I blame her for a lot, but none of it she actually
Yeah.
did. I was like, holy shit, this is actually.
Well, here's the
Okay. I mean, look, you can't like saddle all the blame because
I know what you mean.
a prosecutor looks at all their
It
cases.
definitely ruined her VP chances.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I mean,
she's
yes,
the last
I
person
agree
they
with
want.
that. I agree with that, James.
look. You can't like.
But what I was saying is that how strong was the case? Because if the case wasn't strong, it doesn't matter right or wrong. You can't pursue it as a prosecutor. You know,
Very
so
true.
that's just how they
Look,
work.
you can't turn around and you can't turn around and convict a 17-year-old like black man on charges, you know, before you decide to be a presidential candidate, and then turn around and not prosecute this guy that has counts against him already, and then goes and kills a guy for no reason. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
God, he already knows.
Well, no, it doesn't make any sense. But what I'm saying is that, I mean, that was just one particular instance in which she was involved. But this dude had so many fucking complaints against him. There's no way that he should have still been a cop. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the point that people aren't really talking about. Like, obviously, yes, the structure. You have to ask yourself, like, how does the structural racism happen, right?
Yeah,
Because
how does
you
it
could
work? What's actually at work here?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying is, and I think when it comes to hiring police, you get. I think, like, if you look at the 9/11 era, right? Like, they lowered the standards for recruiting in the military because they didn't have enough people. You know what I mean? So they lowered the intelligence testing standards basically, and they were like, yeah, you can be, you know, slightly subpar and we'll still fucking take your ass. You know what I mean? That's been going on for over 20 years now, right?
Yeah.
So what that produces is that produces a lot of, you know, fucking what is it, honorable discharges, you know, people that basically wash out. And where do you think that they get jobs when they come out? They fucking get jobs in either private security or like being a private investigator or bouncers or security services or they become cops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like you have dudes that are already like weren't that, and I'm not. This is not across the board. I'm just saying that I feel like in general across the whole country, there's just a serious problem of. I feel like they just don't hire quality dudes. They hold on to these dudes that have like fucking huge records of doing fucked up shit. You know what I mean?
All right, so I want to get to Eugene, but to Joe's point, what I'm going to say is that I made some comments earlier on Facebook this week that I wanted to try my best to be super objective about everything that has been happening in Minneapolis. One thing that I can tell you for sure that is like pissing me off, besides Trump's tweets, is when the governor of Minnesota came on, the mayor of Minneapolis, mayor of like St. Paul, and the commissioner of public safety and the Minnesota General National Guard came on. Out of all of those five people, out of all of these five people that had everything to say about like public safety issue, like grief for the family, blah, 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 not one of these motherfuckers in a news conference that lasted for almost an hour and 30 minutes, did they ever say there was any type of possible corruption that was happening within their organization. And that's what pisses me off the most right now.
Mm-hmm.
They would never admit that.
It's part of it.
James, did you have a larger point? Because I saw you over there. It seemed like you wanted to make a point there.
I mean, I'm just kind of waiting for my turn for real. I mean, I'm not going to piggyback on anything that Eric was saying, but I'm gonna let everyone say their piece, and then I'll say mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I think it's me.
Oh, it's me. I mean, okay.
Like a cue, like a line.
No, that's
Okay.
not big. This is just a conversation. I wanted to make that point. I just felt like I hadn't given Eugene a chance.
I just really want to harp on the one thing that John was saying earlier, which is like you have to take these individual cases and you have to figure out, okay, what is it about the system that produces these guys? Because these guys these incidents happen all over the country. You know what I mean? And my thing is it's not a matter of them occurring more often. It's just that now there's access to the technology.
Yeah.
Which
Maybe
people have
maybe
been
they're
talking
not-
about this shit forever.
Yeah,
You know
maybe
what I
they're
mean?
not producing it, but the nature of the job attracts people who are probably a little bit violent.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, in some cases, yes, I would say so.
Like, I think that, to your point, I would even say that they didn't just start taking worse people, they also started taking better people. Like, I know cops, and they are, like, scary smart.
No, I'm not saying all cops are dumb or anything
No, I'm not.
like that.
That's not.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
point. That's not the point. I'm saying they expanded recruitment. So they just said we need more of the commodity. They just said we need more cops. So it doesn't matter if you're a fucking psycho. You're more. You're more. Than
Right,
you did
they just
before,
want
so
more,
they just
yeah.
want more.
Well, there's also a history. There's a long history going back to the 1940s LAPD of basically what they call. There's been a general theme of what they call the militarization of the police, like the SWAT teams.
Look at cops now. It didn't
Yeah.
stop.
You saw they rolled up. They rolled up deep, bro.
And the other thing
tanks
is
on the streets.
I want to return to the
Crazy.
theme that we were talking about in the last time is because, we were talking about these other protests, and it's like if you want to explain to somebody what racism in America looks like, is an angry white guy with a fucking M16 screaming in the face of a cop at the state capitol, and nothing happens.
Nothing.
Not one drop.
But these guys are
yes.
protesting out the police station because somebody got murdered. Not because they couldn't get a haircut, because somebody got fucking murdered for no reason.
I mean, bro, they fucking
And they were using rubber bullets and tear gas off the break. So
Like-
I don't condone the violence, but I fucking understand it. I fucking
Like,
get
it's
that shit,
ridiculous.
dude. Are you serious? I mean, it sucks because, you know, obviously it's their own joints is burning, but you cannot. I mean, when there's no remediation at all, you know what I mean? You got AG Barr out here saying that these people, because they were protesting, that they're subversive. I mean, that fucking fascist
It's always
fat
the line.
fuck.
That is always the line. That is every single time. That's the line. There's never oh, we get it, which creeps me out when they say it. When they're like, we totally understand you understand, but you keep doing the same shit over and over again, and we keep doing the same shit.
They don't
over
do
and
shit.
So that's my point. Like, it's like, I get that, but if you know the plays, if you know how they're gonna react to you, why do the same thing every time? You know, this is a country where you act in a certain way, different things happen. So, the guy's carrying a fucking M16 to a protest. Are you gonna fuck with him?
No, I mean, I get your practical points about that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if it is a very stark contrast because you know, like we discussed earlier, a couple episodes back, that when the Black Panthers were showing up with their guns, they were not treated the same way.
Yeah, but they didn't kill them out in the open. You didn't kill a Black Panther on the street.
Sure.
You found out where he lived. You got to his girlfriend, and you got his throat slit. Like, it wasn't.
Or you have the CIA dismantle them like they did.
That's
in
what
LA,
I mean.
right?
They got in like that. They didn't get in through a street war. They would find you when you're vulnerable, when you're alone, when there's no reason for anyone to suspect that they're getting.
Yeah, they do you like they did Gary Webb, yo.
So that's what I mean. If you can minimize those situations.
Y'all know what I'm talking about with Gary Webb?
So
Nobody?
yeah,
Gary Webb's the dude that broke the story that like the CIA funded crack in South Central LA.
Oh yeah.
And so
Get night-nighted.
yeah, well, I mean they say it was a suicide, but
He felt so bad about making the government look stupid.
yeah.
so before we
Bad
move on
about
from
revealing the
that
true
subject,
nature of the
I
government.
wanted to find out, Eugene, how you're feeling about all the comments you made so far and the overall context of the general, like of the initial question.
Did he not hear you?
Can you hear us?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
he was putting his headphones on when you were talking to him. Oh,
I didn't hear.
Okay. All I was saying was like before we move on, I wanted to make sure that we gave you a chance to just talk about like all of the comments that we made so far collectively about this entire tragedy and what your thoughts are on the initial question as well.
Wait, so what was the question?
Just say what you think. Yeah.
Look, how do you feel? How do you feel about what happened in Minneapolis?
Yeah, my bad, bro. So, like, bro, like, it's nuts. Because, like, I mean, if you really think about it, it's one of those situations that keeps happening. And every time it happens, there's a riot. And shit goes down, there's a riot. And when the riot is retaliation against police brutality, it's looked at like it's crazy. But riots are just as American as fucking apple pie. I mean, we learn about riots, like, all through fucking school. Like, we learn about the goddamn Boston Tea Party. You know what I'm saying? Fucking America started on fucking riots, bro. Like, and it's based on like the language of the, not even just the language of the oppressed, but specifically like the language of like the people that are specifically affected most of the time, that feel affected, that like feel have some type of connection to the thing. So it's like, I think it's like different, and it's a little bit more beautiful now because it's like it looks like a true like American protest. Like, it's not just like black people that are out here. It's not just a black thing anymore. Like, everybody who feels some type of connection, because like we were talking about, like everybody's like can feel this way. Like, look at the goddamn Amish community came out. I was like, holy shit! Like, I can't even believe this. Like nigga, y'all got phones. You know what I'm saying? How How are you getting into this? And I'm still running into
They
people
still
that
read
that
newspapers,
hear
bro.
about this. Exactly, newspaper. It's in the papers, and I'm running into people that are talking about they didn't even know this is going down. I'm like, bro, you didn't know this is going down. There are like 7 cities
Who doesn't
burning right
know?
now. 7 major cities burning right now. Like, what do you
Well,
mean?
they had their head in a fucking rock.
You know what I'm saying? Like a rock, like, bro, you live in a cave underwater, like in a goddamn, you live in a fucking aquifer, bro. Like, I don't know where you're
And
at.
somehow a
You
Donald
live in a
Trump
Batman
tweet
cave.
would still get
You know
to
what I'm
you.
saying, bro? Like, hell, like, you do not, like, yeah, it's ridiculous. There's no way. And it's like, I think it's crazy because, like, it's almost as if, like, we were at, like, you know, one people will, at one point you were looking at phones and shit, like, oh shit, there's cameras on everything now. It's almost as if, like, everybody just agreed to fucking world surveillance all of a sudden, right? But then now it seems like it's working against what you thought it would have been working for. Like, you thought the world surveillance would have been working against you to, like, you know, like, harm the people and get all our personal information, but it's actually pointing out the wrongs in the actual system. But in the system's acting like it can't fix itself, but we're constantly seeing that it's fucking up. So it's like, you got to repair it. And so here it is. Here's democracy screaming loud. We're asking for a change constantly. What's up with these police? You're telling me that it's okay for the police to just drop people out of nowhere? Okay, you got rubber bullets, but you got, like, we're seeing rubber bullets now. You're dropping people and you're killing people and everything. You're like, we're seeing so many ways that it's going wrong, and it's still happening. And we're like, that's ridiculous. Like we saw the I don't know if, I'm sure you guys probably seen the meme with Chris Rock talking about how, like, you can't have any bad apples for like a pilot. Like your pilot joke just lands
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, that's one of his
like,
old
pilot
jokes.
lands all the time.
Yeah.
The police can't fuck up ever. Like, that's a job where it cannot ever be an issue. And I don't know why it took this long for people to
But
realize.
think about it though. When you get cops that are too good, you get actual Nazis. Like when you
Right.
get guys who actually are that good at their jobs. I like that there are Keystone cops out there. It's fucking tragic, but that's like I don't know. Every time I hear people complain about the cops, it's like, thank you, welcome to my point of view.
Yeah, because it's crazy. Because, like, I actually have an uncle. He's a cop in West Philadelphia, and born and raised.
yeah. Somebody was gonna, like, yeah.
But yeah, like, he you know what I'm saying, he's a chill dude, and, like, you look at his body type and stuff, you wouldn't expect him to be a cop. He's a big guy, he's pretty round, but he's been a cop for a long time. He's just been on the force, and this is like what ended up happening when you're just chilling on his job. Like, he felt like he was just, you know. Like, it ended up becoming a desk job for him, and it was like, you're not out in the streets. So I was like, okay, but that's still cool though, because, like, you're still dedicated in this. Like, you know, he doesn't even look at it as a job. It's just regular life. You just go out there and just handle stuff, and, like, but shit's crazy out there because it's West Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? And it's, but he said,
Honest cop, no.
like, yeah, but, like, even though he said he never understood, like, how, like, the force could get so bad that it needed to, like, end up, like, killing somebody straight up. And, like, we're seeing it, and he knows every time, like, it happens, it's not a good thing. And then, like, he's always pointing out how, like, you got to call it out. So it's like, you got to root the system from the inside. Like, there are cops that have to call out other cops, and why not? Because, like, you've seen before how cops band together. You've seen the whole Blue Lives Matter movement and everything, and how unified cops are, and they think of themselves, like, as an actual, like, brotherhood, like, cops, like,
Well,
as, you know,
No, they see themselves as a race.
there's a thin blue line, right? Like, there's that thin blue line, like how they circle the wagons on their people. But internally, I feel like there's I mean, just look at the Serpico example. You know what I mean? Like, good cops sometimes don't do well in the latter. You know what I mean? Like, they get, if it's a majority corrupt place, good cops get their ass beat. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it just depends.
Yeah, we also have to remember that, like, based off the information that was given to it, like what was broadcasted this morning, it seems like some of the folks that are up there are not all from Minneapolis, and
They're never gonna be.
might have another
They're never
agenda
going
as
to be.
they-
That's not
I
the
think
point.
in this
Like,
instance, it doesn't even matter. This time, it doesn't matter. For Charlottesville, that definitely mattered, because, like, that's like, whoa, like, you're all collecting up and collecting together to show how much, like, you hate, like, you know what I'm saying? That was like a straight up, like, hate movement. But this time it's like people are all showing up to rebel against the police, and you know what I mean? So it's like, it's polar, very thin fucking line. It's like, oh, it's kind of the same, but, like, actually the the context matters so much. The context matters so much, and it's like, and, you know,
But I always question, what are people's incentives when they do that stuff? And is any of it like righteous? Because I know what you're saying, like it's meaningful, but when you act as some people have acted, when you're involved in something that's clearly bigger than, you know, just one man, just one cop, clearly bigger than a lot of things. I always question how much foreknowledge is involved. Like how many people, what looks completely outright spontaneous here, how many people have the script?
Yeah, I definitely believe that. Like, there's
sense.
a lot of people that.
I think this is a good question. Like James, if you want to answer that question and just like tell us how you feel about the situation.
What about everything in Minnesota? I mean, this is exactly how I saw Trump's America being like the night he was elected.
That was the best fucking answer.
Like that thought came across today. I was like, you know what? As I was watching the election back in 2016, I was like, you know what? I see Trump's America like, and it's exactly like this. It's, you know, incompetence. It's just everything going on, coupled with, you know, you got fucking cops are still killing people or killing innocent black people, and it's just like I'm sick of it all. I'm fucking done with it. Like I'm so tired of.
To be fair to the rest of the audience, I want to let you finish making your point. I think that if anything, Trump was just the lighter that lighted the kerosene. I think that these are underlying issues that we've had.
No, they have always been underlying issues. It's just the Trump presidency, and then I hope this incident with George Floyd is like the straw that broke the camel's back, and we finally get some sort of, I mean, I wouldn't call it police reform, but something's got to happen, you know. And
it's not gonna happen. Absolutely nothing's gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen
of any positive worth. Like
I can, you know, a man can fucking dream. Right, you know.
Dream means you're asleep, which means you're lacking. Somebody's coming up behind you already. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, that shit is ain't that police reform ain't.
It's never going to happen.
Ain't
that's
shit.
That's like Biden coming out yesterday talking about he wants to do police reform. Like that's shit.
Does Biden know where he is? I hope they just kind of
airdrop
his Minneapolis.
I think it's 100% possible.
It's just.
Can they weekend at Bernie's him for the first debate? Can there be two guys on either side of him?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I would fucking pay for that shit.
You know, I was reading the Wikipedia article on like what scholars think a failed state is.
Oh, do we qualify now?
Yeah, well, apparently because of our response to the coronavirus, it puts us on par with like. You know, some failed state status apparently to the academics. So
yeah, might as well be.
I mean, I would say it's the analysis is true.
As a whole, the moment there's like a 60% of people that refuse to pay their fucking taxes, is basically a third world country. Like for real.
Mm.
Oh yeah, and then like not to mention like let's talk about well briefly because. I do want to get to this. I do want to get to this SpaceX launch because that'll be quick. But like, it's so funny that like Trump would sit here and like, obviously, like deliberately insult these people that are from Minneapolis, then turn around and be like, "Look, I only came here to talk about China." Okay. we're severing our ties.
Let's get back to the world.
Whoa, your Trump impression is quite. Can you do that again?
Can you not sucking our dick anymore? So
previous Trump. Creep Trump. I am the creep.
Well,
I love how he says he's always like China.
Did you guys hear that he wants to expand the G7 and make it a G11 unit?
Who's included?
No, he literally said this today. He said he wants to make he's postponing the G7 summit to September, and he wants to make it a G11.
Why doesn't he just call it
and
G
add-
Unit?
I
The
don't
G
know.
unit.
And fucking he wants to add. He wants to add Russia, South Korea, India, and Australia.
Yeah. I mean,
But his reasoning is, he says he says something along the lines of
Look into the future?
the G needs look into the future, like it's too old school, and
He's
like,
watching the money.
I don't know.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's
I have
like,
a
hey,
question.
Well, no, it's because everyone else is mad because he wants to suck Putin's dick on the floor. At
Trump could go the whole rest of his life and nobody would talk to him, and he'd be like, yeah, he's following the cash.
If we're taking a little bit into the whole coronavirus thing, look, all I want to say is that I find it like super funny that he thinks that he's not doing anything outside of what China would do themselves if he was President Xi. Like, it's like, you're trying, dude, you don't want anybody to tell you that you're wrong for what you're saying online. And if anybody speaks out against you, then they're either fired or they can't say anything. Or you're
Oh,
trying to
dude,
shut
this
down.
fucking executive order against Twitter is like
What a crock
no
of
serious
shit.
legal analyst even it doesn't even fucking matter. Like the fucking precedent is completely clear as far as the Supreme Court like rulings on it. You know what I mean? And it's so like grade school kid being like, I don't want them to stop me from saying words.
I don't think it's that simplistic. Actually, I think that there's a lot to consider. I know it's a ridiculous executive order, as most of them are, because they're just like, fuck it, you can't.
No, that's not true. Some executive orders actually do shit. This
It doesn't
does not
matter.
do
They're
anything.
they're just the chicken shit way to do anything. Like, they shouldn't be the norm. The fact that we have like an expanding executive power means
No,
that
I totally
checks
agree
and
with that.
balances doesn't mean
I totally
anything.
agree with that, but
But there is a real problem online of people being silenced, manipulated, or dismissed because of one way or the other they think. And I get that maybe he's not the right guy to address it, but then who is?
Jesus
And what do you
Christ.
do? What do you do when you can't say anything, you can't think a certain way, you can't act a
You
certain way?
gotta do me a favor real quick.
I mean, it's not.
Hold on. Joe. Before we move on, look, just based off what we're talking about this whole subject, please pull this shit up, because like this only validates all of the points that we're trying to make on top of like the opposition to what this man thinks that he can say. Pull up the post from Mark Zuckerberg that he put out today about this entire situation.
Oh, that guy is a fucking idiot. What do you want me to search for? Zuckerberg Twitter
it should
comments?
just be the Zuckerberg post on Facebook. Just
Are you
whatever
talking about
he
the shit I
said,
sent
and,
you?
like just go to his page.
And I mean, it's also ridiculous to look at him as somebody who preserves free speech, you know?
This guy doesn't.
Well, true.
His
Like,
balls.
that's what I mean. It's like, okay, Trump did a dumb thing. The sky came up this morning. Congratulations. Like, what do we actually do about the issue? And why is it so easy to, like, turn us away from the fact that there's a problem?
I mean,
Yeah, just go to Facebook, Joe, and then just pull up Mark Zuckerberg's page. It'll be like another person. He probably even like pinned it or some shit.
oh, it's running the Zoom, so it's going slow as shit.
Well, take your time. I mean, it's only tech.
Am I crazy? Is the internet just hockey-dory, just like it used to be? No problems?
Huh.
Nobody,
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
nobody Trump's the only guy having problems? Shit. I gotta stop going to those places, man. Like, nobody?
Is this what you're talking about?
What'd
No,
he
that's
say?
not-
Zuckerberg accused of sexual advances on his male personal assistant.
Oh,
I
no.
don't think he has sexual advances.
It's
He
got to
has
be fake.
He has robotic advances.
Well, he did
and
say
then
that they
people
don't need to
react.
fact check sources anymore.
Hold
So
on,
you
hold on.
know,
I want you guys to see this. Give me 1 second.
I don't
I
think
mean, this
his
is the official thing.
actual-
I don't see what you're talking about.
I don't think that's his official. That's a public group.
Yeah,
I don't think it's his
just
official
people
Facebook.
post about Zuckerberg. Think he's smart enough not to have a Facebook? He knows how the sausage is made. He said, "Fuck that."
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna find him, bro.
Yeah. Zuckerberg's out in a cabin in fucking New Zealand.
I mean,
Smithereens, bro. Smithereens.
Right? He's just like, fuck that.
Fucking Barry Bauer, bro. Telling you, bro. Don't even got an account.
Ugh.
Don't get high on your own supply, I suppose, as they say.
Uh-huh.
He was the guy who
he's
didn't know
like,
about
I know how bad
Minneapolis.
this shit will fuck you up. I see it every fucking day.
Yeah.
He's just like, I see these fiends every day coming up to me, being like,
Don't get
he's
high on
like,
your
no,
own supply.
exactly. He's like, I'm afraid I won't be doing this particular drug. But
Oh, shit.
some other ones, like, yeah,
Selfies.
maybe.
No, I won't be doing a selfie today with you. I want to
What's
retain
up?
what's left of my soul. Why do you think I'm like this? I used to be a person.
Hey, Joe, all right, I found it. Hey, Joe, I'm about to steal you real quick, but you can have it right back after.
No, when you said that, John, that made me think of a radioactive computer bit him when he was 14 years old.
All right, so read this first post, right? Hold on. I'm gonna open it up for you. For
He's
you
a
guys.
happy kid.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
It's just what happened to Freakazoid after being in the computer for too long.
Yeah.
Spit him out.
It's throwback.
Oh no.
I literally have never in
Not
my
gonna-
life encountered anyone, to be honest. In my entire life, I've never encountered anyone who looked like that man.
Hopefully,
All right, so
Ever
so
been
this,
walking
to be
down
honest-
the post that I was talking about right here.
Data from Star Trek's looking real terrible.
To the point about this whole like censorship with the internet, because I feel like this is definitely we might be skipping over topics here, but we'll get back to the SpaceX thing. But as far as internet,
That bonkers ass shit.
this whole like censorship thing, like this is what he had to say. Like, this has been an incredibly tough week after a string of tough weeks. The killing of George Floyd showed yet again that the black people in America just existing means risking your life. You know, this, that, and the third, talking about Ahmaud Arbery, talking about Breonna Taylor. When we get down here, right, he talks about, you know, I've been struggling with how to respond to the president's tweets and posts all day. Personally, I have a visceral negative reaction to this kind of divisive, inflammatory rhetoric. This moment calls for unity, blah, 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 bullshit. And then he says, but I'm responsible for reacting not just as my personal capacity, but as the leader of an institution to free expression. I know many people are upset with that we've left the president's post up, but our position is that we should enable as much expression as possible unless it'll cause imminent risk, a specific harm and danger spelled out in clear policies. Oh, by the way, did he not say if they start looting, we start shooting, like they start shooting or whatever he said on Twitter? Like, is that not?
Well, that's exactly
Is
why
that
he.
not?
First of all, they didn't remove his shit; they just flagged it. You know what I mean?
They
You can still view it. It's just
Everybody
flagged.
flagged it. I flagged it. I flagged it. I was like, "Are you fucking? Are you fucking serious, bro?"
You guys listening to anything at all right now? Are
And
you
then
guys
he goes
listening to
through
anything
the
at
entire
all?
discussion.
Are you-
Like, he goes to the
Listen.
entire discussion about, like, we look very closely at the post I discussed, the protests, and
Are you
Minnesota.
taking any of this
Like,
as
none of this is
gospel
fake.
when for the last 15 years all he's been doing is silencing people?
Like, this is like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
unlike Twitter, we do not.
Mark
Unlike,
Zuckerberg people.
he says right here, like, unlike Twitter, we do not have a policy of putting a warning in front of posts that may incite violence, because we believe that if the post incites violence, then it should be removed regardless of whether or not it's new. Get the fuck out of here, man.
But
Like,
I keep saying, like, everyone keeps trying to go back to Trump. I get it. Trump fucked up. He's an idiot. Whatever. does that every day. What are they going to do now that they have this in front of us? Like, what should we anticipate when we see something like this? Why should you believe either side without considering exactly what their incentives are and exactly what the possible result is of this?
Yeah,
Because even as he says things like this, more and more things get flagged, taken down, and prevented from being expressed because of this, which leads to more frustrated people, which leads to more violence, which leads to situations where we're talking about a man dead because of a quote-unquote public entity we're supposed to trust, which leads to situations where we lose our composure and our ability to think rationally and to act constructively, which leads to situations where they can say, oh, you're a danger to yourself and others. We can take your rights away. We can take your life away.
yeah.
Why fall into a trap as well documented, as repeatable, as, you know, as obvious as that?
It's all you, Joe. You can have it back. I wanted to share that real quick.
Yeah, also, just to follow the chain of logic on the outrage from, if the problem with Facebook, number one, I believe that Donald Trump would have said out loud what he tweeted because he has no filter.
Oh yeah, that was
way his entire life. Like he would have looked dead into a camera from Fox News or CNN or any of them, and he would have said that.
Shit,
So then my question is this. I'm almost positive that man would have said exactly what the fuck he tweeted. So then if Facebook is being held to the standard...
Maybe that's how he runs Twitter.
If Facebook is being held to the standard, right, of basically saying, okay, like, why did you leave these posts up? You know, and Twitter basically went, why did you leave these posts up? And then, of course, Twitter did censor them. But then the posts were left up on Facebook. And my question is this. I'm almost positive that man would have looked into a camera and then said that. So then if the
Can't take
problem,
that down.
yeah, but yeah, you can't take that down. But then the problem is if it's the dissemination of the things that he says, the information reaching the public and potentially inflaming them, then, and the way that I'm getting the information about this is through major media outlets whom he would have looked in their camera and said that, and you know they would have broadcast it to me, and then they're broadcasting this to me right now, right? They're broadcasting the controversy and the words to me. If that's really a public threat, and then the media is also lobbying to have Facebook censor these things, then why is the media telling me about it? Why is the media, if he would have looked in the camera and said that, do you think they've been like, we can't air this footage. It'll make us too much fucking money.
My goodness.
They never take that step. They never take that step.
Yeah, they're full of shit. They don't believe what they say.
But that's my point exactly. If this is bait, why are we so
Dude, they've been paying
eager
this man
to
since like
grab onto it?
2015.
If this is something calculated, then why are we reacting exactly as they expect us to?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a further step to that?
Well, that,
if they know I'm going to get angry when they say
Right.
X, if they know I'm going to lose my shit and act exactly how they think I'm going to act, why do that?
yeah, because
It
it's,
puts them in a position of power over me. Why allow it?
well, I
If
guess
you're
that's,
claiming they
yeah.
have power over you, why give them power over you?
well, I mean, that's one reason that I believe that there's an unconscious truth to the term news cycle, right? A cycle is something that's so repetitive that you
Exactly.
understand, you can project a sense of control, not influence, but the illusion of control onto a cycle, because you can be like, I know what happens next, but part of the way that you can know what happens next is you can directly intervene to make sure that it's the same cycle. It's the same cycle. So it's predictable to you. And you can use that to, what is it? I never will forget that it was Marshall McLuhan once made a really amazing point. He was like, if you took a fucking newspaper, right? And he was talking about like in the 1970s, and it still kind of holds true today. Is like if you took he said the only thing that holds a newspaper together narratively, that makes any of the articles side by side one another makes any sense, is the date on the newspaper. He goes, if you took the date off the newspaper and you left it there, it's a bunch of different
Just be a
stories.
novel.
Yeah, it's just he says it's the greatest surrealist novel ever written. He says what connects it is the date, and then he got into, this was in the 70s, he got into how like now newspapers more, so there was always an opinion base, but now news, they think it's to shape the events in a way that makes sense over a continuing narrative over a long amount of time. But he goes, there was less of a tendency back in the day. He said it was literally the only thing that connected any of the stories was the date at the top of the paper. And he goes, and we're moving away from that, where people want to create a narrative that arcs through time.
Well, because you can never find the original story. You can only ever see the fucking commentary on
And
it.
that's how we relate things. But like,
Nah, that's
people,
very true. That's crazy.
people didn't feel they had the authority to just boost their opinions out there. They thought that there was a greater scheme to think. And now the greater scheme involves all of us being as important as everything else in the universe. So we think that nobody else can have any influence on our thinking. We think that it's all self-created. You know, we never consider that there might be things going on behind us somewhere.
Yeah.
And like, it's, if you just take everything at face value, then the lessons that are available are diminished, and like your ability to change your actions is like negated. You're just stuck. You're just in a corner. And, you know, you have to give yourself options.
Yeah, that's crazy because it's also how people digest fucking information. Like the way people, because if you think about it, if that's how people are digesting information, that's how we're getting all these, you know what I'm saying, how we're getting all these videos and stuff. How like when you get like videos of people like rioting and stuff, or people going crazy or whatever, and you just like say you just hop online and you just keep on scrolling. You're not looking at the timing or nothing like that. It doesn't say when it is, just people is filming what's going on, so you don't know when it happened. Like just like
It could be,
people finding out about the
whenever.
dude that was jogging, they didn't even realize that he got shot in 2016.
Like, but think about this too. In like a lot of old cultures, they used to have public executions and stuff like that. Death has always been a part of human society, but the way it's structured says something about your society. Like Aztecs had acceptable sacrifices, and I'm saying maybe we do too. Maybe we just haven't admitted that to ourselves. Maybe there's a reason why this keeps happening and happening and happening.
Yeah,
And maybe all this outpouring is just self-referential. People getting rid of all that guilt from the last time this happened, because we're letting it happen again, and we will, and it will happen again, and sooner than you think.
Yeah, I mean, when it's funny that you mention that, because what it makes me think of is, you know, when you talk about the news cycle, Bennett, when you were saying, you know, they used to be disparate stories that were just connected by date, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at the way that the school shootings are treated, it's like they're like, oh, you know, another senseless tragedy. No one could have thought that it could have happened. It's like, you can't fucking say that anymore.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, we're so
fucking-
shocked.
This shit has been going on. This shit has been
shocked.
yeah, this shit has been going on since I've been in 6th grade.
Yeah.
You know, it was when Columbine happened, and it's
So
like,
shocked.
yeah, it's like the vigils and the fucking thoughts and prayers bullshit. I hate when people are like, "Oh, I support this, I support that." Well,
Can't
what
get
do
away
you
from it.
actually
Can't get away
fucking
from
do?
That's like
What-
saying you hate Easter.
Yeah,
It's a fucked up holiday. It's annoying if you're not Christian. This is like a weird American holiday.
it's not. It's barely
Black
Christian.
guy.
Hating Christmas is what's weird.
Yeah.
Hating Christmas is what's
Now,
like-
Christmas makes sense. Christmas, every fucking culture has.
I don't know, man. The guy knew he was gonna die from a pretty early age. He knew how he was gonna die. Maybe it's the same story. Maybe it's the same fucking story.
No,
Like-
I'm just.
or the shit from about being motherfucking about goddamn.
How does
Saturn.
Jesus go down? The cops string him up. Like,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
maybe it's the same story.
That's pretty much. Well, but it's funny that you mentioned that when you say about the same story, because like that's actually what Philip K. Dick thought. He was like,
Yeah, but you're talking about you're talking about martyrdom. You're not talking about.
no. What I'm talking about is that he basically thinks that since he had like these weird religious experiences, and he basically thought that the entire world was stuck in the Book of Acts, just repeating the same shit over and
Ooh,
over.
that's nuts.
And so yeah.
Well, so just to close, just to close on the subject, I find like this along kind of the lines like what Andrew Yang was saying. I think that people just really need to stop looking at the internet as it's just like, we're just getting on the internet. I think it's important that people start understanding that it actually is a physical entity, incorporation within our reality, being that it's 2020. I think if people can start putting that together, we would not have like much less problems, but it would be a little bit more easier to like comprehend than people just saying like, yeah, like I went online and I said this and now everybody's up my ass about it. Like, yeah. I think people need to start understanding like kind of walking through a mall and all of these advertisements are playing around you. Like you can decide to go.
And I extend that the way you feel online, you should be prepared to say in real life, but you should be prepared
but that's the point I'm trying to make.
You should be prepared to say
the physical realm. It's
but we all know that that's not the case with online speech. The whole thing about online
as a man,
speech is
toughen
that
your skin up and just be prepared to say some wild shit, because sometimes the truth is some wild shit. So
because
be prepared to say that shit.
To your point, like that's what I'm saying. Like I think that the internet should be just treated like it's extension of the physical realm.
It's gonna be frivolous.
There's no reason why. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think you could make the argument that it's a lot more relevant now, just because now it's not an alternative to other modes of communication. Now it's the way that we communicate.
This is where we're at.
But it's also the nature of the thing. Look at the internet. It is ridiculous.
That's what I'm
Look
saying.
at some of those videos I just sent you guys. Are any of those serious videos? Is our history like always serious? Like part of going online,
not at all.
Yeah, part of going online is knowing that it's like right.
I'm curious when Joe has to say about how this began. Like, how did we arrive at the point that data is now our physical realm? Like, this is our physical realm because
coronavirus.
Outside of being on our phones, outside of being on our phones and outside of being on all the time, even before the coronavirus. Like, how did we?
Yes. No, we had the internet before the coronavirus. My point is this: is that before it was alternative communication. It was the new communication. We knew it was going to be adopted, right? The difference is now because everybody's been shut up inside for like a couple of fucking months, when the doors open back up again, people are not going to congregate in the ways that we used to. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to see almost every industry change. Like, just the socio-cultural implications. Because, I mean, just the way that they've been talking about screen time. I mean, the fact that we're doing this podcast regularly every Saturday, you know what I mean? Like, we're congregating online. That's going to become a lot more common because, it might just be in the future, it's springtime, everybody's got to go inside because that fucking corona wave is coming,
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's going to be working from home.
A reasonable expectation. But, I mean, also, isn't Tinder part of the prep to get ready to spend less time with people? Isn't Amazon
I would say
part
yes.
of that prep? Isn't the last 20
Well, no, I would say they're not supposed to replace the interaction. They're just trying to commodify it.
But you don't just, you don't just start by knowing how to ride a bike. It doesn't just happen.
True.
There's steps before you get to a point where you're able to incorporate something. And
well, that actually
we would have rejected it at earlier points in our history.
That actually goes to my other topic, which is what I was going to do. Is there's been a lot of news about Facebook, and if you look at Facebook's corporate strategy right now, they're pretty much copying the strategy that Microsoft had back in the 90s. Huh?
It's a good strategy.
Well,
you want to become psychotically rich.
Okay, well, I mean, whatever. They're already psychotically rich. What I'm saying is that the strategy is basically, it's a lot like what Mac does, but it's basically like this, right? Like, when Microsoft came out with Microsoft Office, the way that they got Word is that they copied WordPerfect. They made their copy of WordPerfect. Yeah. The same with Excel. Excel used to be a program called Lotus 123 or Lotus Notes, right? But no, they just made their own shittier copy of that
Yeah,
program,
he's like,
and
"Look, I know
because
all
it
about
worked
that.
in the
I've been writing for
ecosystem.
years, brother. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why their strategy worked. So what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that Facebook launched Facebook Shops, and they also launched their Zoom competitor at the end of last
Zoom
month called
competitor,
the
they
the
deliver, they transfer money. They're
yeah
making sure
Facebook
that it's
Rooms.
a one-stop
So
shop
if
for
you
your
if you look at Facebook, they're really like trying
We're
to
talking about Facebook
be
Rooms.
this octopus organization that's basically what John
go
was
further
suggesting.
than
They're trying to
Microsoft.
commodify your interactions, and we have more interactions online because we're in the house. So it's like it's starting to get a little science fiction-y in this bitch.
They'll turn it off.
Huh? What'd you say?
Turn it off. Like
It's
just
like
turn it
what?
off. Turn it off.
Turn that bitch off.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Go outside. Leave your
Well,
phone
I mean,
at
I
home.
don't have a problem
Turn it
with
off.
that.
But
You
no,
know,
but that's what I mean. Like our
it's
solutions are
really
bizarre because they're so
solid.
obvious. They're so obvious.
Yeah.
And like to restructure the way you think is hard because it's taken so long to get here. But the solution is abrupt. It's
Well,
like
I don't know.
it's
I
abrupt.
think we should just. I think we should just declare Facebook a public utility and turn it into.
And then what? And then it's
Oh,
more controlled
man.
by the government.
I mean, it is a publicly traded company now.
And then what?
I think
You think
that-
it's going to be better when a guy like Trump is in charge of it?
No, I didn't say that.
Like what's
But
the
not- but
positive?
not-
What's the positive goal? Like where do you go? Turn it off.
No,
outside.
but you know, to your point, Joe, I think that you're right about the public utility thing. But the thing is, it's like it looks good on paper, but the problem is
What
like,
is the argument for making it a
give
public
the-
utility?
We just went through that whole
the
public
power
utility.
to regulate that shit is never going to be the same. I mean, we might as well be living in China.
What happens with regulations?
Like,
Are they adhered to?
but
No, you make more regulations when they don't listen to your first regulation.
But look,
And then you make more regulations when they don't listen to your second regulation.
they don't
Like
have
a
to make
cancer.
regulations
Like a
at all.
cancer. It
Some
just
people
keeps
you
growing.
can't say things against it. Like,
But he is right about that because that's kind of back to the whole thing I was talking about, like the perfect citizen, like the perfect governing, like the perfect test to like self-governing is the goddamn shopping cart, bro.
Yeah.
Shopping cart.
I agree with that meme, dude, so much. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shopping cart, and it's true.
Mm-hmm.
What do you buy? What don't you buy? How do you do it? Who do you let see it? It's
do
all
you
up
put
to
the shopping cart back after you're
No,
done?
it's if you put the shopping cart back in the parking lot,
The
Quan,
shopping
yeah.
cart
Put it
back
back.
after you're done?
You guys are
Shut
thinking
that
even
motherfucker
simpler
and
than
let
I
it go.
am.
The
Yeah.
thing is,
I'm still on this Facebook shit where I'm like, why are you letting them watch it?
it's definitely more like a
before we-
Walmart shopping cart than a Target shopping cart. Because
Or even
Target
weirder
shopping cart has
situations. It's in your it's on your block, and you're like
Target
fucking 10 blocks from a supermarket.
No, I'm saying, like, how do you feel? Like, think about how you
Target
feel
shopping carts have fucking
psychologically.
power steering.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could apply that to exactly what Joe was mentioning about the internet. I mean, about the regulations to the internet. So, like, at what point do we decide, like, oh, like we have enough control over ourselves to make rational and responsible decisions, or don't we? I mean, if you want to apply all of like the constitutional rules to like being a member, like to being a person that uses the internet, would you rather be at like a public forum, or would you rather be it like regulated by, you know, the powers that be?
I'd rather be invisible. I'd rather not have an identity, not be held to some weird account by people who don't know me and have no interest in what I'm actually saying. I'd rather not be involved. And
That's
if
the
I- if
reality now. That is the reality now, though.
So yeah,
That is
and
exactly the
that's
reality
the
for
thing
black
we're gonna
people.
lose. They're gonna know who you are exactly, where you are, what you're doing, and everything you say will be held on a ledger, and they'll take a look at that versus everything else you said, and they'll decide: is he a good citizen? Is he a bad citizen? Should he be free? Should he be jailed? Should we kill him? Is he acceptable as something that could be sacrificed in front of you? Because you're right-thinking people. You have the right ideas. You're right. Everything you do, you're a good person. That's like people dressing up to go to fucking lynchings in the 1800s. You put on your Sunday best, you go watch a man die because you're a normal person. Like, we're fucked up. We're really fucked up. You
Yeah,
know?
man.
Before we move on to the next,
And think about that,
go ahead.
like the actual medium that it's occurring in is dictating sort of
Yeah.
the way that people think about it. For instance,
Now they
right?
pipe it into your
And
head
it-
all the fucking
Yeah,
time.
all the time. But in terms of the medium as well, like think of it in this way: like we have plenty of drugs that are illegal, right? And they're not illegal at a certain amount. They're just illegal, right? So it's not like if I have under a pound of cocaine, right, I'm going to be fine. It's under a pound. It's only over a pound that you get into trouble. That's a weird thing that that's a weird thing that we have with like drugs. And that's just dictated through law and culture and history. Like it's a taboo substance. Almost every culture has some kind of thing where like you can't fucking do that, et cetera, et cetera. On the internet though, when it has to do with speech, the strange thing is the medium affects how you look at it. And one thing that's the medium and the actual physical architecture of the internet is bandwidth, right? So in a notion with speech online, when it's heavily regulated, it's like it's being shot through that prism and coming out as this rainbow that says bandwidth. So basically, they're like we want to restrict the bandwidth on your speech, just to say we want to restrict the bandwidth on your thoughts. And it's weird because the internet, a lot of its progenitors, people who created it, like there's a whole thing that several of the people in this conversation will know, but it amounts to the people who designed the internet in a military sense, technical sense, and the people who were using it initially in the 80s and the 90s independently, right? And then when corporate forces started to move in, and the closest thing that's approximated to it is those early internet pioneers, they were using it and they were like, this is open. This is like an open range, right? And anything can roam across it that wants to. And we can all go across it and we'll do whatever the fuck that we like. And then more corporate interests came in and they were like, no, just like the range wars out west, they're like, we're putting up a fence here and we're keeping our shit here in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Fence turned into a wall.
Right, exactly. And there were these
everything just
wars.
keeps getting more and more
A lot of
structured.
the stuff that, when we canonically hear about hackers, specifically like in the 90s, going up into the middle of the last decade, it's like, all these hackers, that was a range war. There were certain people in those early years when hacking was going on that basically were being like, don't come in here, don't fuck with our shit. We do what we want here. That's the way that it is. It's a smaller community. We don't want people to access this realm that don't know how it operates, just like you don't want someone building elevator shafts.
It's
because we
dangerous.
fucking build elevator shafts.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're doing.
It's
And so then
dangerous.
after that sort of range war sort of played out, then one of the last things that was left in there was like bandwidth. We can restrict the bandwidth on smaller voices, on those people who want the free range and pretty much lost the war. They lost a lot of it.
Yeah.
But they didn't really, because then they were paid money to create the fences. It's a weird story. It's a strange story. But like,
Can't beat them, join them. They got bought out. And like,
Yes.
honestly,
Yeah.
how many of those were just competitions or tests
some of
from a
them,
larger organization
yeah, it's true.
to see what are your actual skills? Can you cut it at this level? What's your value to us? Because at the end of the day, you're good online, but we have a more direct route, and we can do whatever we want with your identity and how people perceive you.
Yeah.
And like, there's danger in that, but there's also like a worthwhile risk if you choose to take that. But you should be good enough to take that. And like, I don't know that the average person has confidence to approach that.
Well, it's
And, like,
also, yeah, and it's a weird mirror. It's a weird mirror image. Exactly what you're saying is if it was just like the people who were the best at being on the range and then got hired to make defenses sort of after they lost the war, or they basically just flipped sides, right? The ultimate decision that they made was it was better to get a ton of fucking money and live in the real world and have a baller ass life than live online exclusively and have that freedom. Like there was a bit of a trade off, but now
or even
it's
more
seeming-
serious, like
yeah. But
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is like the flip mirror image of that is it's just like they kind of were on the internet in the beginning for the freedom and to do all that stuff. They got offered a bunch of money and they chose 3-dimensional space,
Mhm.
warm bodies, hot meals, mega yachts, shit like that.
big
They were like,
parties.
yeah, let's do that, right?
Yeah.
Now it's this weird inversion where these people who started off here for freedom, they've chosen the real world, but other people are choosing the fucking digital world. It's almost becoming some kind of weird class thing in a way. Like if you can get enough money, the real world is totally fucking awesome, as we all know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you still have problems, but fucking, like you're not wondering about how you're going to keep the lights on in your house. When you're wondering about how you're going to keep the lights on in your house, now it's flipped, and you're like, I'll go online, I'll escape. People with enough money escape to the real fucking world.
Yeah, you know,
broke ass people go into the computer, and it used
they
to
do
be the
shitty
opposite
drugs
way
that'll
around.
kill you anyway,
Exactly. Yeah.
or you
it's-
know,
Yeah.
they act a certain way. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit used to be the complete opposite. That's crazy.
Yeah. Used to be rich people that were on computers. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the ultimate equalizer, and I know it's not going to give anybody a warm, fuzzy feeling, is that they have to figure out why they're here too.
Yeah.
Like, if you pull it all the way back, it's like, rich or poor, you have the same directive. You have to
So
figure
make
out
sure that
if
we-
there's a reason behind any of it, and if you're going towards that,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, even though they got all the new toys, it might just be a bigger distraction. Who the fuck knows?
Sure. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So before we move on to the SpaceX launch, I did want to bring up a couple of things that I just thought would be fun before we end this segment. First of all, this is something that we had talked about previously in the week about this crazy ass couple that is a notorious YouTube
All the
couple
YouTubers.
that decided to get their child rehomed after discovering that after discovering that their child was autistic.
Rehome.
And they
turned that
adopt
kid
no,
into
bro,
the
bro,
What
bro.
the fuck?
They gave him up.
Bro, they adopted.
That's
Oh,
like
no,
when
I
you're getting
your
off the
child.
plane and they're like, please deplane. I'm like, you mean get off? I can't even say get off. I can't get off the plane. I have to deplane the plane.
With this rose, you can stay another week. Anyway,
But what makes it
Oh my
That's
god.
fucked up.
what makes it worse though
Oh,
is the
shit.
fact that
All right,
they
where is
adopted
this
the baby.
story?
Say again?
Alright,
Yeah, I
so
didn't
look
even
this
check their
up.
name. I couldn't read it. I couldn't go through with reading it because I'm like, that's so reprehensible.
What is this story
It's
called?
so
What do
disgusting.
I search?
It's just like YouTubers give up autistic child, something like
yeah, just
That's-
take that.
Do you think that they fucking
If
waved
this
the
has an
receipt
Asian baby?
around? You think they went back and waved the receipt
Excuse
at him?
me.
Oh
Dude, I
wow.
fucking got
God.
this.
Oh,
Like,
and they're
yeah.
crying. Look at that perfectly lit picture. Fuck you.
Yeah.
They're on their side. When
Oh,
they're
wait till you see
against
the
you, they
comments.
pick
I
the
mean, they're
shittiest picture
yeah.
ever
Like-
taken of you. Like you passed out in your own pube, having
Oh,
your face held
but
up
they
by your friend.
monetized their posts about their adopted
But
son.
look at who's covering it. It's today. Today is like
wow,
the
look at
fucking
these
saccharin
fucking
of
those,
media.
neo
those
Nazis
like
right
something
here.
like
They
the
gave up
independent,
one of all of their
independent
kids.
or like CNN. Like I don't really see anybody that's like monetizing it, especially like Fox was like what I was telling you guys earlier. What they were saying. Oh, did you guys hear that after this morning? Like the sorry to backtrack, but like after this morning, after the whole speech that all of them gave, like the five officials from Minnesota gave, the general of the National Guard essentially said, he was like, yeah, we're going to deploy upwards to about 2,500 troops. And then Fox, and that was on CNN. Then Fox News turned around and said that they're going to deploy up to 13,000 service members.
I mean,
We all know that these motherfuckers went out of their way to change the rhetoric to make it seem like 13,000 National Guard troops were going to be like fucking deployed on Minnesota.
Well, you can't be Fox News unless you're slinging some fear around,
it's the same currency. And,
Yeah,
and honestly, it's
it
not far from
sells.
the truth. A lot of cities already had troops deployed.
Yeah,
Troops have been
but
deployed here since
anyway, no. So
It's
like,
March.
damn, I wish I could find an article that I'm looking for in particular, but it had to be like on, I don't know, like the Independent or something like that. And essentially, they adopted. First of all, they already have kids. They have like 3 kids.
Yeah, we're looking
Yeah.
at the picture right here.
Yeah.
those
Okay.
are
So
adopted.
they have 3 kids, right? And then they adopted this son. They had him for 2.5 years.
And
right?
should we dare to go to the Instagram?
Yeah. First of all, they're notorious on YouTube. They're YouTubers, right? And they've got like
Look at this bitch.
they've got big
Holy
house,
shit.
like fancy cars, like blah blah blah, this that, and the third. And And you mean to tell me that you're going to go on national television and tell these people that you're overwhelmed after having this child? I'm sorry, I'm getting passionate because I have a kid of my own, but I'm saying, like, you're sitting here telling me that you've had this child for 2.5 years.
Well, the thing is they're making fucking money off of the kids.
Well, of course they're making money off the kids, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. What I'm saying is, like,
every one of those photos looks so fucking fake.
And that you're just like, gotta give this kid back. Do you have any idea how traumatizing that's gonna be for him?
Yeah.
They can't.
Look at this
shit.
shit.
They don't care about their own kids. I bet you they only see them at photo shoots. I bet
Yeah,
you they
no
don't
bullshit.
even go to
Exactly.
shoots. They don't have to be there. Look at that. That happened. Some fucking au pair. Some, stuttering.
Dude, their house looks like the type of house you have. This looks like an open house. This looks like
Nobody lives there.
Yeah, nobody lives here. This is like the house that when you go to the open house.
Your house does not look like that. Like,
Staged. It looks staged. Yeah, it looks staged.
It's just like, dude, like, there's not even like a cell phone on the couch.
No,
This looks like something out of the Sears catalog.
Look at that.
It's crazy as well that after 2.5 years, and they already have, like, that was their youngest child, it looks like, the one that they returned with the fucking receipt. After 2 years. But
listen, guys, ratings are down. Get rid of the chick.
Get rid of
the Chinese kid.
But
dude, look at this comment. This comment says something is wrong with this baby. His face looks like yours.
Whoa.
I know a lot of people that will take him when you decide to give him up. Oh my God! She called it.
Well, how long ago?
No, that's a day ago.
Wow.
That was only a day ago.
That's part of the hate brigade. That's part of the wave of hate that they got.
But my whole thing is, like, regardless, they've already got quite a few. They've already got quite a few kids, and then they were like, "Oh, we got overwhelmed after 2.5 years of having this newest one." It's just like, regardless of anything else with the kid, it's just like, what the fuck? Do you think you kept having kids and you were like, it just gets easier with every one we have. It's so much easier for every child we had to our
Dude,
family.
these comments
Like, no
are
one's
off
ever
the
fucking
chain.
thought that.
They saw that child as a money-making opportunity.
Like,
This shit says, don't misbehave, otherwise it's off to the orphanage. Yo.
Yeah. But it's like,
That is crazy.
Does he know his parents are evil? I'm sure he does.
Jesus.
Dude, whenever I see this many
did he
comments,
know that Hong Kong wasn't autonomous anymore? Anyway,
I'm
look,
sure he does. He had to bear 9 months in your rotten, decaying thing you call a womb.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, people are just like, that's that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
That's some good interneting right there.
That's like peak internet.
Well, right before we move on, right? I did need to tell you guys this because I thought this would be fun to say on the air. YouTube did send me a email about copyright shit.
As far as what?
For our last episode, they said that there was some discrepancy.
You guys watch a movie?
In the things that we posted. They didn't specify, so I just sent an email back saying, like, well, what exactly was the issue? So I'm waiting to hear back from them. I don't have anything yet, though.
Yeah, that's really weird. Usually they specify, like, who's...
they don't care.
Yeah,
They
it showed up.
made a
So the way it
statement
was
saying
in the video,
that they'll flag
it showed
whatever
up.
they think.
Yeah, the way that it happened, like, it showed up on all of the videos that we posted, and the top one was like, it said something like copyright something or something like along those lines. And then, hold on.
You're gonna have to become a legal expert.
Yeah, it says like, hold on.
I mean, there was absolutely nothing that we didn't do that wasn't under fair use. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm just waiting to hear back from now. I don't understand what the issue was. Like, I went back and watched the last episode. I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Like, movie trailers are not... You can't get violated for showing them. They are for distribution, free distribution. They're not like... You know, they're not the type of thing... Anybody can post a movie fucking trailer. You know what I mean?
Depends.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
there
sure.
have been
So,
like
right,
those
like right or
trailer
wrong, a lot of
reactor
people are more
YouTubers.
aggressive about it. Like a lot of
There is-
people
Well,
know
a lot
that
of
they
it's
can-
automated.
There
And
is
yeah,
a
it's some
copyright-
algorithm. But like at the same time, there's also organizations that'll throw their weight around just to be like, stay the fuck off our page.
Okay, no, I see it now. Okay, here we go.
Don't let it be a Metallica.
So, the violation.
no bullshit.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The violation is that we cannot monetize off of this particular video
Oh,
because
you're monetized anyway.
there were ads in that video.
Oh, because the ads
Because
for the
there were
videos
ads
that we
in
played
that
showed
video,
up.
We can't monetize
Oh.
off.
Well, we can worry about monetization when we have more than 250,000 views, which is
Right.
you need.
But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I thought that was funny. Did you guys watch the SpaceX launch?
I did see it. Yeah.
I
That's
was
hard.
running around.
Talked about it.
It's the coolest
All right.
taxi in the world. Fuck.
All
I
right,
don't
so
trust Elon Musk.
I'm gonna be straight up honest, right? I think it's partially cool and partially hilarious that now space exploration has been commercialized. Like we don't have to rely on the
They were
government.
predicting this for a long time, actually.
Yeah,
Like, we don't
they
have
were
to
shooting
rely
for
on
it for a
government
long
for
time.
space
There's a lot of
exploration.
things that had to change.
If I want to jump in a Boeing space plane to go somewhere, like that could be possible, when I'm like 80. But also, I think that it broke a lot of barriers. However, this is the thing. They talked about this for a couple of, especially like Elon Musk being the head engineer. I talked about this for a couple of years about how they were going to be able to get this rocket fuel engine to resurface or essentially land, so it didn't get destroyed in the atmosphere, and that they were going to have to pick up a bunch of debris as they have in the past every time that we have launched before. Really interesting. The unit that's supposed to go up to the International Space Station propelled from the rocket, and a lot of the footage was focused on the shuttle unit, and then none of the footage was being taken from when the rocket fell and how it did fall, and then how they took it over as a drone and was able to get it back. All I know is that maybe 15, no, not even 15, maybe 5 minutes after they showed that it made it into the orbit of the space station, the pilot unit, they started showing footage of a boat, and next thing you know, NASA and whoever's covering it is saying oh yeah, it's about to land, on the boat like a helipad, and then the video footage cuts out for 30 seconds, comes back, and the thing's already landed. So
Yeah.
Like I
Are you
said,
saying
man, I
it's
don't
fake?
trust
Is that
Elon
what you're
Musk,
saying?
man.
I just feel like there's a lot of speculation for me, there's a lot of speculation for me surrounding if Elon Musk was actually able to deliver, or what he said he was going to be able to do with this rocket and make it reusable.
I have questions about that too.
I'm sorry.
There's
I don't trust any man that names his child after the way your arm feels after you lay on it too long. So let's just get that out of the way right there.
He named his kid after the sound printers used to make back when they go this way.
What the fuck is his kid's name? What did he name his kid?
Well, his
impronounceable.
legal name isn't that anymore.
It's
but
it's
just-
impronounceable. Yeah.
It's like AX12.
It's a printer on there.
AX12
AU.
EY
He's artificial intelligence, and he's
Basically.
Android 18.
Android 18.
Yeah,
Lisa.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
Kakarot.
And then he said that he did a name change, and then when they went in there, all he did was change a letter.
Yeah, because by California law, they couldn't have numbers in the
Right.
name or something like that. They had to spell out the numbers.
Yeah, because to have a number is ridiculous. To have a number on your
But
kid.
isn't Andre
Number
3000's
4,
kid
get your
named
ass
He just
Seven?
guaranteed that kid's gonna get beat up every day.
No, he's not. He's not going to see another kid.
Dude, you're
Is
talking
it
about
dir-
Tony Stark, by the way.
Yeah,
He's not Tony
Nah, that's
Stark.
The
Tony
baby.
Stark
No,
on
I mean the
Wish.
baby.
That's
Oh,
what I
the
mean.
baby
Yeah, there's
is Tony
definite
Stark.
questions about
Yeah.
legitimacy of what happens. What has he done before this? He shot a guy into space and he jumped down. They've done that with a hot air balloon. He shot a car into space. He set up a tunnel.
Oh
to
yeah, the
nowhere.
space car. I remember that.
He set up a tunnel to nowhere. He sold a bunch of flamethrowers. He lost a lot of money.
I remember that.
That wasn't his. So, like, he's got a lot of, government contracts because I don't think he does that without it. He doesn't get the access. He doesn't get the influence without some people on your side. But,
So you think it was a legitimate landing, then?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm saying look at his record. And yes, there are questions to be drawn from the legitimacy of things, but I didn't see it, so I don't know.
I wish you
Even if
guys could see that.
would
I
I
should have
know?
fucking recorded it.
I'm not going to go as far as saying that it was like some sort of hoax, but I do think it's fishy.
Yeah. I think that he's got a hit or miss record, and the things he hit on aren't exactly real difficult to do. If I said I'm selling flamethrowers and I'm not sold out in an hour, I'm shitty at selling stuff. Like,
You want to know something? I'm looking at it right now, and it's like, it looks real as fuck, right? Like, it looks like.
Oh, you watched the video?
I'm watching it right now. I'm pretty sure this is
particular part.
But at the same time,
That camera cuts, and you're like, "Yo, where?"
No camera cuts. No camera. It's one shot. It's one shot. It's just the way it's landing, bro. It looks like a video in reverse.
No.
Okay, now I have to watch.
Where did that joke come
But
from,
you
yo?
can't fake the fucking wind. It's got.
Should I pull this up?
Yeah, pull it up.
Yeah, just pull it up, Joe. Just pull it up.
Pull it on.
Hey,
I gotta see
yes,
this.
Share the link in
Eugene's got me with that description.
Share the link in the
That's
chat.
some Looney Tune shit if that's what it is, dude. That's weird if it looks like it's in reverse. That's all it looks.
Looks like in
Acme.
reverse.
I keep thinking about the rocket like with fucking what was it, Marvin the Martian?
Share the link in the
And
chat.
it's just
Dodgers.
basically a giant fucking bullet that he points up the sky.
And then he has the
And
ladder.
that French movie, the
Yeah,
trip
bro.
to the moon. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
basically just a tall
Bro, dude,
ladder and a giant gunshot.
Do
Christ,
Falcon
bro.
9. Yeah, do Falcon 9.
This one.
Yeah.
Nah, that's not the one I watched. It's the SpaceX.
Yeah, so throw the link up in the chat.
Which one? Which one do you want?
Hang on, I'm
The
gonna
shuttle
share.
landed.
Let's just go with CBS.
So was someone directing it when it came back down?
Yes,
I mean,
Steven Spielberg.
It was a drone. That part of the that part of the ship is a drone.
I'm joking.
Sorry, the landing. Sorry. I shared
At the
wrong one.
beginning of that video, they were cutting away from another clip, and there was a dude in a suit whose name was Benjamin Crump. I'm like, that is the most pseudonym name ever.
Benjamin.
Okay, here we go.
Benjamin Crump. Like, that's an awesome name.
No, that's not the one, Joe. Hold on real quick. Hold on, I got you.
I just shared the landing.
Okay.
Oh, this is on our chat, our group chat. Can you post it to the Zoom chat?
Oh yeah. Hang on.
What the fuck?
Wait, you can chat on Zoom? Hold on.
Yeah, you can chat on
shit,
Zoom.
You can.
Is it in there?
Gotta put it
I'm
in
about
there,
to-
right?
about to post it in there.
Hang on real quick.
No.
I just want you guys to see this, man, because it's like it's not real.
I'm watching it.
It does
Eugene
not
just put it
look
in.
like. Look, I think that he
This is the
pulled it
second
off.
one I
really
posted.
Did you
think
send
that-
the link?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the second one I
Second
put.
one. The second one is exactly what he's talking about, and it's just awkwardness after.
Okay, I'm waiting for the link.
It's the way it lands is extremely awkward, isn't it? It's like it's
Is
so
it this
weird.
one, the NBC one?
Nah, here, I got you right here.
That's the one right there.
Oh, there we go.
Bro, it doesn't look real, bro.
They've done it before,
Yeah.
but I want to see like what it looks like versus.
Wait, that's the landing?
That's the landing.
Yes, bro. Like,
looks like it's in reverse.
how?
That
fucking
totally
crazy.
looks like it's in reverse.
That's
That's
crazy.
so fucked up.
Wow.
It's like, wait, what? It's
But
like,
then
that's
look at
how
the
you
look at the
watch it.
waves. The waves look
That's what I was
look
thinking. I
right.
was like,
Look
the
at the-
background is
look at the smoke.
what makes it bizarre.
And
Is
then,
that
like,
the ocean?
okay, if you look
It's
at the-
dissipating
I'll just show
just
you
how
another
it
one.
would if there was a bunch of smoke.
Hold on,
How
let me.
gigantic is that
another
ship,
one, right?
too?
I'm gonna show you. I'm
Right.
gonna show you the one. I'm gonna show you the one from
That's
the
wild.
No, because if it was in reverse, you would see the smoke go back into
other
the
way.
bottom of the rocket.
Yeah.
I just say it
Right.
looks like it does, which is no,
Yeah.
it's unsettling. It's weird because you know it's not, but it looks just like it was fucking rewound.
Yeah, like when it comes in, it's like, what the fuck? Get out of here. It's
Yeah,
just
no,
reverse.
that's weird as fuck, man.
I want to show you guys the one
Oh.
from the live footage. Hold on, because this shit threw me for a loop. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Hold on.
How did News 6 get
Damn.
exclusive?
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
What did
if this
Musk
is
say
real,
about the launch? Did he say anything?
I don't know.
That's weird that he wasn't front row center and he's not like, nothing in his
That's
pants.
because Donald Trump was front row center.
National television.
Right?
What
Yeah,
did Trump
actually,
say about it?
hang
Did
on.
he say anything about it?
Let me check my
Did
tweet.
anyone say anything about it?
Pence was
I
there.
think, I think Trump said something
View of our drone ship
after the launch.
coming down.
Yeah, Elon honestly was just on Twitter, just chilling.
Wait for confirmation.
You're just chilling on Twitter. 5
I'd be
minutes
losing
into
my mind.
yo.
Yeah. Go
All right,
check
hold
out
on.
the
It's
All right.
weirdest
okay.
shit.
All right, hold on. Look at okay. Hold on. I'm about to steal the screen real quick. I want you to see this.
Just
Right?
send me the link.
All the one. Well, I got to give you the timestamp too.
Okay,
Because
just put it up on your screen.
Okay, all right. So watch this real quick. All right.
There's no way that's fake.
All right. So watch this, yo. All right. So.
Falcon 9 first stage successfully landed.
And
so
there you
watch
can
this,
see on
right?
your screen,
Chills are triggering.
there's that
So
call
watch-
out. They are still on a nominal trajectory on Dragon,
So watch what happens
still
here,
on
yo.
second stage, and that's
Yeah,
that
let me
MVAC
move
engine
this
on second stage on your left
to-
screen.
All right. So look right here. So
It'll
watch
be
this.
the shut down.
Second engine cut off.
Stage 1
We'll be
engine burn
looking
shut
for
down.
that stage 1 landing burn shortly after.
So these are like the
Actually,
cameras
just
that are on there
within a
already.
few seconds of each other.
You guys can hear it too, right?
Yeah.
Such a cool view on your left screen, seeing Bob and Doug on Dragon. Right now you can see
The
the
right view's
displays that
fucking
they
garbage,
are seeing right now themselves.
Terminal guidance.
And back throttle step.
We are coming up 25 seconds
Right
or
there,
so
Tom.
away from SECO, or second engine cutoff.
This is also the point where Bob and Doug are experiencing their highest G-force. We're seeing the counter tick up to right about
Well, the
3.8.
part that Eugene showed
Copy
us
Shannon.
is about to show up.
You
at a
heard
different
Shannon, so
angle.
that just means they're in their final
just
abort
found this to
zones.
be
If they were to
interesting.
abort at this point, would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second
Stage 1
engine
landing
cutoff
startup.
confirmation.
And back throttle step. And back shut down. Stage 1 landing winner.
Confirmation of SECO's second engine cutoff.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its way to our drone ship. Of course, I still love you.
SpaceX nominal orbital insertion.
So they're saying that this thing came back down.
Insertion.
Right, they're saying that it's coming back down.
Deploy.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship, where our first stage will be coming down.
Yeah. Of course, I still love you.
Looks like we
All
lost that
signal,
live
right?
view,
Now
but
watch this.
we'll wait for
No,
confirmation of
it's
that landing shortly here.
Falcon 9 first stage is successfully
sudden,
landed.
And there you can see on your screen, Falcon 9 has landed. This is the first Falcon 9 to carry humans.
Look, man. Look. Look. I'm not saying I'm right, dude. But this is real. It's really weird. It's really fucking weird. Like, I'm done.
It's pretty typical on re-entry to have like a signal loss. That's actually happens every time. So
I didn't even take physics. I don't know. But yeah, there's reason to be skeptical, as there is with everything.
Dude.
you just
Dude. That's the type of stuff John Kwame plugs right there. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
well,
what you
watching
buy,
the video,
folks.
it did look a lot like
Fucking eyes open.
it did look a lot like a David Blaine like magic trick. You know, like I don't know if you remember that shit they used to put on Fox where they like the guy made the space shuttle disappear and like all he did was like put a blanket in front of the camera and then like
fake musician, and he had like a couple videos, and he'd go to the hood and he'd be like, no, there was one with two gay guys, and then there was one where they're in the hood and he's like, oh,
are we talking about
your
Patreon
pants? And then he opens his mouth. He's like, where did it falls out of his mouth. And then the two guys were like, where are my Cheez-Its? You got rid of my Cheez-Its.
Yeah, that was Afion Crockett. Yeah, that was fucking Afion.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I wanted to...
Yeah, I'm with you. That's weird. Yeah. That's fucking weird. That's Scully and Mulder shit right there. You know?
So Eric, should we we should get to one more topic here before we wrap it up, or?
Yeah, let's talk about these rats. Okay,
what rats?
Let's talk about these fucking rats, bro.
Well, they're eating each other, which is fine with me.
There's less food out. They're gonna eat each
that's
other.
What happened back then.
They're rats. They're not fucking daycare.
Eventually, they're gonna be like, you know what?
They're
We're
rats.
just not good enough for one another anymore.
They're rats. There's no pizza. There's no Burger King. There's no garbage out there.
Yeah, there's no garbage.
They're gonna eat each other.
John, are you saying that these rats are doing rat shit?
They're doing rat shit.
Somebody's like, how these rats doing rat shit?
Yeah.
Look,
ratchet with rat shit.
That's all it really is.
Quite frankly, I don't give a rat's
There's
ass.
fucking segments of all of this ecology. Even the grimiest thing we do has a cause and effect. They're rats.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting too because actually worldwide populations of rats has been on the rise in almost every major
we're
city.
Filthy.
Yeah, because
everything we get instantaneously, caked in grease and delicious. Even when it's rotting, things are eating that shit. It's just, yeah. Sorry, the rats.
So you're saying
I like how you McLaughlin grouped that. You're like, it's rats. That's it. It's just rats. They're eating each other.
I thought they were like killing people. When you said murder rats, I was like, there's a little girl in the Bronx who got her face eaten.
You know,
if that happened,
that's crazy.
I would have said
The rats on bath salts.
Whitey on the moon.
Oh, God,
that's
rats.
exactly what's going on right now. If that happened, that is exactly what's going on right now. Whitey on the Moon was after the space flight. Gil Scott talking about his sister getting bit by a rat. I was like, that would be creepy.
That would be creepy.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
Rats
people
aren't
doing
nice.
people doing people shit leads to rats doing rat shit. That's your takeaway,
and then
John?
people
Yeah.
not doing people shit leads to rats doing rattier shit.
Shit, exactly.
Like Ratatouille was nice. It was a real stylized version of rats.
It's also very, very fake.
Yeah, savant, gifted cooks in the kitchen working together towards a single. Yeah, that's nice.
I often wondered about that movie because I'm like, all he does is like tug on that guy's head like left or right. Like, how does that give him directions on how to cook shit?
They were insulting us. They were talking about the
It's
structures
Pixar.
that be
You
how
fucking
easy it is to
puppet,
manipulate us.
You fucking rat.
Oh, you're gonna be rich? Get a little bit of pussy? Do whatever
You
I say.
fucking rat. You're a
fucking
rat.
I'm a rat. I'll make you famous, kid. Come to me, and it'll be different.
I'm just imagining it the old, in New
It's
York.
the
a lot
Rat
of
King.
People, a lot of people in New York and like I don't know how it is now with coronavirus, but for years there would be film critics would talk about this. It only got revealed in the last few years. If you went to certain spots in New York City, certain theaters, like even until recently, in the middle of the day, as a film reviewer, like there would be almost no one in the theater.
And so the
Right.
rats would be in there.
No, the rats wouldn't be in there, but like you could go into the theater and there'd be like one or two other random weirdo people in there at like fucking 9 a.m. on a Wednesday. And so they would just smoke cigarettes in the theaters. I'm talking about like last year. They would just smoke cigarettes in the theaters while they reviewed the films, right? And they would take
Already like where this is going.
yeah, but there would also be a few, like these guys would always say, like article ran a few years ago, I forget which film critic, because like, yeah, but there would be maybe every once in a while one or two other people in there that would be crazy. And then they're just trying to get off the street or whatever, but they're like mentally ill. And I was just imagining like some film critic watching Ratatouille, exactly what we're saying, and like smoking cigarettes. There's like one other dude who's just crazy and he's trying to get out of the cold. And he's watching Ratatouille because he just doesn't want to be in the cold. And all of a sudden he just yells at the screen, "This is bullshit. Like a fucking rat hadn't cooked me a meal in 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
It was 1987 the last time that a fucking rat
They're
cooked me a
making
meal.
fun of me.
Rats don't act the same anymore. Rats got no class anymore." Like shit like
You
that.
mean to tell me that this fucking rats?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
just like, yeah, because what would you think? It's yes.
But it's-
Anyone
Like if Gordon Ramsay knew a fucking like rat was
rat,
cooking his
exactly.
food.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
go!
If the Reds sat Gordon Ramsay down and said he'd be a better cook, Gordon Ramsay would have that rat in his fucking briefs, tugging on his
delicious.
short hairs,
It's delicious.
teaching which way to go.
Yeah.
That motherfucker would look the devil in the eye and say, "However I can get more famous, I don't care." Like,
Yeah, no bullshit.
All of these stories are Faust. They're Gotha. They're you deciding, is the means better if you do it yourself or if you get assistance on the way? And yeah, some of them are good fables, and some of them are like, yeah, take the easy way out. Just do what is simplistic. You know? This rat will lead you to the promised land, and instead of you actually learning how to cook, because that's what you said you wanted to do at the beginning of this movie, you're gonna let a rat.
teach you how to be a
You're
ninja.
gonna let a rat
That's
take
one of
over
my
your
business.
filthy fucking kitchen. Jesus. You're gonna take
Did you catch
the
that?
most corrupt way and just take the easy way.
Did you catch that?
Uh-uh.
I said, well, apparently a rat will teach you how to be a ninja too, but that's none of my business.
Oh yeah,
That's
especially if you're a radioactive turtle.
Master Shredder.
true. Yes.
That's more whimsical.
Shit, according to now, rat will teach you how to rap too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, are they rapping now? I stopped at the one they went to Japan. That's the last Ninja Turtles I've seen.
Oh, you mean Turtles
Yeah, with
and
the time traveling land.
Time travel,
Ninja
yeah.
Turtles 3. That's the
Yeah.
last one
So
I
that's the
thought
third
I
one?
would watch.
Fuck that.
I did see
fuck
one
it.
of the newer animated ones, and it was okay. But then I saw the Megan Fox one, and I was just like, oh, fuck.
Is she in one?
The Michael Bay ones.
Bay reboot.
John Kwame Park Day was like, "You want?"
Dude, fucking... The only good thing about that movie is Will Arnett. You know what I mean?
Was
Yeah.
she April or who was she?
Yeah, she's fucking April, yeah.
She was April.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, it's...
I'm so disappointed.
And it's like
April-
they could have done
April
it well.
O'Neil
They
is
could have
such a
done it well with
specific
her
name.
if they had tried, but they didn't try.
There are like so many
Did she
girls
try?
that look like April O'Neil. I would have.
She probably didn't try.
Yeah, they're like, it's Megan Fox. Just get her in a fucking tight fitting.
Yeah,
dress.
exactly.
Like, do I have to explain this to you? And then they just.
The other thing is they made
they
the
went to the
turtles.
restaurant
They
where
made
the
the
rat-
turtles like her pet turtles that she
Her
had.
pet turtles.
Yeah, they were like.
Was she at least a journalist? What was her deal?
Yeah, she's a journalist. Yeah,
She's
but like
blogging
she's
about the
she's like
fucking
more
patriarchy.
tied to the origin because they're like her turtles.
They should have
Was it
made her
her
a sexy
radioactive shit
sanitation
too? Like,
worker.
what?
No, it's like her dad or something works for the company. I don't know.
She
I
just
forget
used her
what's the
dildo so
company's
long
called.
that it exploded, and it went on the turtles, and they were electrically charged. Became Ninja Turtles.
Well, we all know which Ninja Turtle John is. All right, I got to piss.
All right, guys. I think
Yeah.
I'm about to have to jump off here.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's time. It's we
Yeah.
actually made it exactly on the 2-hour mark. So
Yeah, we're right on the 2-hour mark. Yeah,
I can spare a second before I got to pee, but yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely.
let's
Okay.
wrap it up.
Hey,
thank you for
James,
joining us for another episode of Ancient News. We had your hosts here, Eric and John. Special guest James in the house, and I'm DJ Two Codes. Bennett Elliott is our special commentator every week. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and then, like the ones you don't like because it would fucking help me out, okay? We'll be back next week with another great episode of Ancient News. Thank you for joining us tonight. Take care, man. Take care, everybody. Yeah, good to see you.
Night.
All right.
Good night.
Peace out, y'all.